All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this morning, before I crack on this with electrics, because I want this engine to be in the chassis in the car running by the end of this week, and I'm still developing, kind of finding the best way to fit a couple of things, small improvements that we're gonna offer later on. This is Monday. Today is Monday, and when you see this video, or when you see this video when it was released, it is actually the real time, because as soon as this is finished recording, it's gonna be online. And I'm recording this on my phone, so if the audio is bad, apologies, but that's all I have today. So I want to update you on the drive shaft situation, and they are finally ready to order. But let me get through, because there are a few things that we have to explain. First of all, I'm extremely happy how they come up, both versions, and let me show you how they fit. You know what, bit of a coffee first, because yeah, there you go, morning on Mondays, so it is what it is. Okay, so this is the drive shaft, the right side is one piece, is not two pieces as originally on MR2. This is the solution the Volkswagen Audi uses, so it's not something new. Plus, we prefer one piece drive shaft instead of two. Now, if you're wondering if it clears, yes, they clear everything. This is a mesh, the protective mesh, and I can still squeeze a thing in there. Actually, slightly lower on this section, blah blah, and it fits perfectly. The CV joint, again, this is not a CV joint from the MR2. These are bigger. I'm gonna show you in a minute. Fits perfectly. There is a trigger wheel for the ABS sensor, so all the ABS works as factory, no problems with that. Now this section here is slightly longer, so don't worry about that. This is normal. It's just bigger CV joint, so they made this bigger as well for some reason, and it just fits perfectly. Now I want to show you how this fits. I'm not sure if you can do it in my one hand or not, but let me try, because I need to obviously hold the phone somehow. So let me, hope you can see it. You go up this way and you slide it. Oh, hold on, I'll click something on the phone. Nah, it should be alright. You should be good. Hold it this way. Maybe it's better. So unbolt from that section, the gearbox, up, slide. One hand is a bit dodgy. But there you go. You know, off you go, down through the suspension links, and you have the drive shaft out. And this is the same way you obviously put it back on. Not gonna show you the other one, because I will have to disassemble the CV joints from this shaft, but then on the shorter one. But the shorter one fits exactly the same. You put it through that gap over there. You can see it through here. Slide it into your hub, into the splines, and then it will drop just enough space to drop it into your gearbox flange. Now bear in mind, this is Steve's car, so he's always been painted and scrapped, because he obviously trying to break it every time. I get to what that is in a second. So these are the drive shaft, and as I've said before, we have the single piece drive shafts. Put the phone maybe away, and we have the hybrid drive shafts. I rather this. I prefer these ones, but again, you know, you chose. Like I said, these are pricey. These are £700 plus shipping, and there is between 4 and 6 weeks waiting time before I even get them. So when I get them, obviously there's need to be another week for me to ship them, because I ship the stuff on Fridays. I can't waste too much time during the week, because I'm busy fabricating this stuff and working this stuff. So I've decided on Fridays all the shipment is gonna go up. You know, if you order stuff on Thursday and I'm still able to assemble it for you, it's gonna be Friday. If not, the next Friday. Very simple. So again, these shafts, that's the price, that's the waiting time, and they come as you see it here, not as you see it there. That's assembled with the CV joints. They do not come with the CV joints. CV joints are extra. These are not MR2 CV joints, and I get to that in a minute. These ones, I think I should be able to sell them for £600, but they are complete with the CV joints boots as you see them here, ready to be fitted. Now these are hybrid ones. What I do, I buy new drive shafts. We find a company, make them strong, make them good quality, because again, that's another think about the development. You know, you can't just trust anyone, random companies. You really have to build experience with them, as I'm gonna show you in a minute there, because there are problems with that. You know, it's even with this drive shaft, there was 3 companies I was, you know, dealing with. Only the third one was good, and obviously you get upset because I said, well, drive shaft should be ready within 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. Then the deadline arrives, and you're like, is it ready? It's like, no, it's not ready because they let me down. Obviously, you don't want to do it. You don't want to hear about that. I'm not gonna explain myself because, you know, I don't want to talk bad about companies or other stuff. But that's the real situation. This is the real development. We wanted to get this product out of the market as soon as possible, but, you know, realistically, this is what we're dealing with. When you make your one-off is one thing. When we say up a production line, it's completely different, because I have to be able to reproduce whatever I make in series, and every time has to be the same, and every time I have to have, how can I say it, reliable partners, because I can't make everything on my own. So I have to rely on companies that make the stuff to my spec, and they make it every time and each time exactly the same. Same for the mounts, for the laser companies. Oh my god, that was a nightmare. The simplest thing turns to be a very big nightmare. We had the prototypes making, and it was absolutely spot on, perfect to my specifications. So I said, okay, if this is the quality you're making, we're gonna make loads of them. I've ordered a massive batch. I spent a lot of money and all the stuff. All right, it was absolutely dog shit. It was nothing like the prototype we ordered. And then you have to argue with the company. They claim it's the same stuff. They want to prove it's not. It's like, let's not get into that. It's a headache, you know. So that is only a tiny portion of all of that stuff. So again, thank you for the patience. Now we're starting from this week, last week, this year, we're starting full steam. Few changes, but everything starts to be reliable. Now, be patient, just a few more days between Thursday and Friday. I'm gonna go back to the orders. So if you have ordered stuff, I'll get back to you on Friday, possibly. If you want to order the stuff again, I will get back to you on Friday anyway. And you still need this week to sort a couple of things out, at least this setup, and refinish a couple of things, because I think we may be stepping away from the charge cooler and getting into the air cooler, and no more intake cooler. There's different names, blah blah. Charge cooler is the one that uses the water to cool down the air goes to the intake from the turbo, and we're gonna have to use a small radiator in the front, the pipes, the water pump. It's a bit of a complicated setup. It's not complicated, but it's much more complicated than normal intercooler. The problem is with the intercoolers on MR2, there's nowhere to fit it, because obviously it's rear engines. We're not gonna run the intercooler in the front of the car, because that's adds complications with the pipes going through the length of the car. The length of the pipes is not the problem itself on a higher level powers and all the stuff, but there is a lack of space in the small MR2. So I run an experimental rear mounted intercooler, and it did and it didn't work at the same time. I didn't have the time to test it properly. My testing wasn't accurate, wasn't good. I wasn't happy with the results, but I know what's supposed to be improved, what works. So 99%, or actually 100%, it will work. But again, you know me, I need to test the stuff, you know, first. If I'm 100% sure it works, put it on, test it, works, yes, no, can I improve it, yes, no. When everything goes ticks to yes, then we really do the test, works, good, we're ready to go on the market. So allow me a few more days to test that, obviously, thoroughly. Back to the shafts. I'm sorry, I'm off the topic. These are the shafts. Now, let me show you the differences with the shafts we're making and the shafts, the original shafts from the MR2. Now, first of all, I think we're gonna show you, this is the original drive shaft from the MR2. So, the smallest part of the drive shaft, which is the weakest link, is 22 mil. Now, the shafts we're making, apart the better quality of the material, the weakest spot, so this the smallest part, there you go, 26 millimeter. Then we go on the even more important stuff, the spline size. I'm not going through the count, it doesn't matter. 28. Original one, You see there's a big difference. 25, actually this is when you measure it properly. There you go. Maybe it was less. This is focus, 24 and a half. So big difference there, and if you think this is a small difference in materials when you're talking drive shaft, no, I can assure you that is a big difference. Now the CV joint itself, you can probably tell already, is a huge difference. Okay, but let's measure this, let's bring numbers here. Again, do it one hand, because I have to hold the phone. So, sorry, may not be 100% accurate, but we're talking maybe half a mil. There you go. 85. Can you see it? Focus. 85. And this one here is slide down. Can't even reach it there. There you go. 95. So quite a big difference in the CV joints. Now on the back of the drive shaft, which we're stepping into the Volkswagen original CV joint, I'm not even going to measure it because this is not the weakest point. The weakest point is actually on the front, which is not a weak point anymore. However, in comparison to this, that side is even bigger. Okay, so no worries about that. Now, if you're saying, okay, if the one-piece shaft, the weakest point, so the shaft diameter, outer diameter is 26, what is mine hybrid drive shaft? This looks fake, but let's remove the boot and go on the thinnest side of it, which is the same as that one. Actually, I don't want to trick you, so I don't want you to think I'm tricking anything. So let me just, I'm sorry for that. Again, one hand. Okay, there you go, and you can see it here, 26, right? Now this side here is actually slightly bigger, so even if you think, oh, maybe that's the weak spot, no, trust me, it's not. There you go. This is 27 and a half, nearly 28, but nearly 28 means nothing when we're talking materials, so 27 and a half. So this section is slightly bigger. And so if you're thinking this is just a simple job that, you know, get the two shafts, chop it in half, put it in the sleeve, weld them up, off you go, and you make loads of money. No, let me get off the coast there. That's not the case. First of all, I have to strip them down completely. I have to remove the CV joints, blah, blah, get the shafts, get them to measurements, and I have to cut them in a special way so they interlock each other, well, they match each other in between. And then, as you see, there is a difference between this diameter and this diameter. There's a 1.5 million of a difference, which you mean, it's not a lot. Yeah, well, actually it is, because when you're making stuff precisely, so this sleeve here fits precisely to these both shafts, so that difference has to be removed. So I have to put this section of the shaft, put it on the lathe, and lathe it down to exactly the same diameter as this one. So then this sleeve can grab it, these and these, perfectly in the same way. Grab it means I cut them off, and obviously there is a technique I'm making so this sleeve actually grabs both shafts and squeeze them very, very tightly. I'm using some thermodynamics or other stuff. Let's not go through that. Thermodynamics. Why I'm saying thermodynamics. However, so everything is nice and central. There's no such a thing as wobbling on anything. So they are absolutely and true in the middle, a center, and straight. Okay, then obviously drill 9 holes, weld them up, weld them on a side, weld them on this side, weld them along. And before we do that, I actually weld 2 shafts, 1 and 2, inside through 3 spots before sleeve them up and put obviously the sleeve welded to the both of the shafts. So there is actually quite a lot of work, and it takes me, it doesn't take me 5 minutes to do it, let me tell you that. So when I'm asking for the price, I'm actually on the borderline of making profit on actually not worth doing that. So I'm trying to keep the prices as low as possible, make this stuff as, you know, as much available as possible. Obviously it has to make sense for me to run the business, otherwise, I'm not gonna be here, because there's no point. Again, as you already know, the workshop, it was already closed for a long time. I wasn't working anything. I wasn't doing anything for customers, custom stuff, because I just know with the latest job, which again, this is something I have to come back to, because lots of people are asking what happened with the pickup, what happened with the Bentley W12 engine, turbo system, and the big van, and the massive pickup with the LS7 engine and all the stuff. least one, at least two engines we had. And all the turbo system, all the custom job, and I have to sit down with Steve. Maybe we do it today and make a video about it, because we owe you explanation, because I said I'm gonna do it and then I disappeared and never did it. But there is a very, very interesting topic of what happened with those cars, why I've closed the workshop, why I'm walking away from the workshop, why I'm back in the mr2s and all that stuff. So it's gonna be a separate video, otherwise this is gonna turn into 1.5 hour talking me, because I know we're talking too much. So get back to the shafts. We know the measurements, we know the prices, we know the time for ordering this stuff. Now the time to order these ones is literally for me to do it. So it depends how busy I am at the moment. If I'm tied with the electrics, they're gonna take me whole day. I'm not gonna stop that and making drive shafts. However, what I'm trying to do, I will try to get, if you order drive shafts from Monday, Tuesday till Wednesday roughly, so at least give me 2 or 3 days time, I should be able to get them and obviously machine them, do all the work, all the stuff. Then we're going through the what's the process? Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter. A thermal treatment to make them strong again, because when you weld them up, you make the material slightly weaker, and I didn't like it. So we're trying to bring the material to the same strength it was originally before welding, but so again takes time. So if you give me 2-3 days before Friday, I should be able to send them on Friday, unless I run out of the drive shaft and I have to order more of them. Then it's gonna be about a week waiting time, up to 2 weeks in a worst case scenario. So this is a bit, but it's still better than between 4 and 6 weeks waiting time for these ones, and they're more expensive. Again, I'm not trying to persuade you to get in these ones than these, because guess what, these ones I've just ordered them from the company I made a deal with. They send it to me and I send them to you and make some profit. These ones I actually literally have to sit there the whole day and make them, so it doesn't make any difference to me as a business which ones you order. I'm just telling you personally what I like. I like this stuff. Maybe because I like custom stuff. I don't know, maybe because I have more satisfaction from this. I have no idea. It's just I prefer them. You get whatever you prefer. I think this is it. So the drive shaft, we cover the drive shaft, the size, the differences in prices, differences in waiting time when you order them. Size, installation. I showed you the installation. So this is the beautiful thing, because usually you have to remove the whole the hub or part of the suspension. And on some of these cars, remove the suspension is a pain in the ass, because the bolts are seized and all that stuff. If you're doing a driveway, and then you have to do alignment. In this case, no, you can remove all your old engine, fit in your engine, everything, and you can leave the drive shafts at the end, because you are able to put the drive shafts at the end, like the last thing, even when it's on, no problems. So that's good, obviously. Adapter plate. Okay, so let's cover this little cunt. Right, so this adapter plate. Okay, so well, because Steve is doing experiments and other stuff, launching the car and trying to break stuff, see what was the weakness. He was having some wheel hop with the semi-slicks, with this very, very sticky rally tires. Okay, so wheel hop is known to break drive shafts and break stuff, break gearboxes and all that stuff. Wheel hop is very bad for you. Simple as that. So I was trying to eliminate it, making some different experiments, and he made some bars between the subframe and the gearbox top mount, which he ended up to break. And then we found out, let me just grab the torch. We found out that the company sold him a solid bushing for that mount over there, okay, made that hole for the bolt, which originally is M10, they made that hole 14 mil big. So obviously, clearly, that had a massive movement. It doesn't matter how much you tie this. I mean, you have about 300 brakes or whatever power you run, pushing the whole car. That little bolt is gonna slide no matter how tight you're gonna do it. So you're gonna have a lot of movement with the engine forth and back, no matter what. So there is a wheel hop. So in that case, he was relying only on one mount that he made. It was a solid to the subframe, and obviously that broke the mount on the gearbox on this section of the gearbox. Because see, this gearbox is split in two like any other gearbox. So he replaced this section here, which is the inner case. Now the inner case he broke, and replaced. This comes from the all-wheel drive system. So for motion, as you want to call it, or all-wheel drive or whatever. Now, commonly, these are found in Audi TT 1.8 Turbo because they are four-wheel drive. And this is the cheapest gearbox you can find, one of the best and all that stuff. But it obviously has a transfer case here. Having a transfer case here, you cannot leave it because physically won't fit here. And it's just, again, not four-wheel drive. So it's, you have to remove it. Now, the transfer case is held by 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. There you go, mathematics. Not complicated, however. So there is this company on eBay or whatever they called. Done now. If you go on Steve's videos, he made a comprehensive video about this. It shows you how much we had to modify to fit this. So they sell this plate as the modification from all-wheel drive to front-wheel drive gearbox. So you can use this gearbox in all the front-wheel drive cars. In our case, we can use it in our MR2 swaps, which is great. And they say now it fits, everything is sorted. You just have to buy this a seal for the drive shaft and the half shaft from the front-wheel drive, which no problems. We have plenty of them. This does not fit at all. Nothing. So the seal is too high, and the half shaft pushes on the seal. It will actually destroy it when you bolt the half shaft in, because the half shafts are actually bolted. There's a screw inside there with a 6mm Allen key, and it gets completely inside the differential, which is good. You will destroy the seal if you try to do it. However, before that, the half shaft, the diameter of the outside part will hit the plate even before that. It will not even fit into that. So it's just bollocks. Also, this section here of the engine block had to be modified, had to be angled under because it was in contact with the plate. There was about, I would say, easily 5 meter of overlap. So once you sort everything out, once you actually get it fitted, which this fit, unless you have a lathe and able to modify it. So once you modify that, modify everything, and eventually fit the seal fit, the right height, the right diameter of the seal, because again, even the diameter of the hole to accept the seal, it was too small. So once you've done everything, the gearbox would not fit on the engine because there was a massive overlap here. So even that had to be modified. Now, this is what I'm talking when you're saying you're trying to work with the companies and everything seems to be reliable and everyone claims they parts are best in the world and all that stuff, which some companies again are very genuine, some companies are not. It's simple as that. And then when you have to work with them, you take their problems on their shoulders, because if I'm gonna sell you that plate, you're not gonna contact the company that produces them. You're gonna contact me because you paid me and it's on my responsibility, my reliability and all that stuff. So imagine we've tested these plates and they fit beautifully. And then the new batch of the plates arrive, they look exactly identical. There's no reason for me to assume anything different. I'm gonna pack them up, send it to you, be like, they don't fit. I want my money back. Your company is a scam. You scam me, blah, 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 because I've seen this stuff happens. People have short temper, me included. Do you know what I mean? It's not that easy. So we try to, test 3 different companies for the drive shaft, different companies for the mounts and all that stuff. Is a headache. I'm not complaining, don't take me wrong. I go through this. I've been doing this for 24 years, so I know this stuff. I'm just trying to show you how difficult it is to set up the business or production line at the first time. Yes, I was eager to do this, all of this, as soon as possible. Maybe too quick. Maybe we advertised it too quick that everything is going to be ready, because we had, obviously, the company saying, yeah, it's going to be ready in 2 weeks, and then it wasn't. But now, finally, we are here. So, we run this stuff now. Now, before you ask, no, I'm not going to make these plates, at least not for now, because I'm already busy with all the stuff. I don't want to take on my shoulders more than I can handle. However, I'm thinking 2 things. If you buy it, send it to me. I mill it down, I modify it, no charges. If you order, obviously order kit. I'm not gonna send the stuff, the work or the stuff for free for everyone, because, hey, I'll be losing business and we have to stop doing all the stuff. But if you order all the stuff, if you order the shafts or mounts or whatever else, but then say, look, I want to run this four-wheel drive gearbox, I need a plate, above that, I know it doesn't fit, could you modify it for me? No problem, send it to me, I'll modify it, I'm gonna send it to you with you order from our mounts or whatever you order from us. No problem, it's free of charge. The second option is I may contact the company and say, look, just I want to buy, I don't know, 10 of them. And I put them on a machining room, modify of them, and have them ready to be shipped out, you know, so you can order them from me directly, and they already fit as they should, because they have to go on the lathe and on the mill as well to clean the gearbox, which is a pain in the ass. But then obviously they're going to be a little bit more expensive than the original ones, but the original ones don't fit. So, well, they do fit unless you have a lathe and a milling machine. Nice. I think we covered everything. So this is it for the drive shaft situation and the gearbox optional situation. Because this plate actually, it is a little bit more expensive. I think it's about £70 including everything. But it opens you the door for the four-wheel drive gearboxes, and I know these are the ones mostly available. Even we sometimes have a trouble to find front-wheel drive 1.8 turbo 25 6-speed gearboxes, O2M gearbox in a good condition and no more money, because some people they're just asking ridiculous money for them. They're not worth that. So you know, it's an option. Then we're gonna test something more with the gearboxes, but that's in the future, in the near future. For now, there you go. Oh, and if you wondered, yes, the mounts, the kit, everything is ready. I've got about 7 or 8 full kits still waiting, already there, ready to be shipped. So I think that's all.